we're just getting started. Get this pulled up real quick. Hello everyone, my name is Grace Wade Moser. I'm going to be your teacher this semester for our Summer History 102 online. This PowerPoint is designed to give you an overview of the class, introduce myself to you as your teacher, and also give you my expectations and what you can expect from this class online. So I'm going to get started just by introducing myself to you. All right, so I'm Professor Grace Wade Moser. You can call me Professor Moser or Grace. I just ask that you don't address your emails to hey there or hey you. Please take the time to learn my name. I'm going to try to take the time to learn yours. I am a history teacher by choice. I am a self-proclaimed history dork, and I'm going to explain what that means a little bit further on. But just to put it into perspective, I really, really love history. And you don't have to love history as a result of this class, and I don't expect you to at the end of it. But I think it's a little bit easier to take a class and maybe a subject that you don't like from somebody who is passionate about it. So maybe that'll help you in this class a little bit further. All right, so I'm going to try to get to know you guys all this semester, even though it is an online class. So I'd like you to get to know me a little bit. This is an image or some pictures of me and my husband. You can see our really cute wedding picture with our little iPhones. And then the picture on the bottom is a more recent one. It's from last August at my brother's wedding. And as of September, we'll be married for 6 years. This is my animals, right? I currently don't have any kids, but I do have some on the way. From left to right is my cat Bart. He's blind in one eye. My dog Chica. And then my cat Grover, who just recently passed away a couple days ago, and I couldn't bring myself to take him out of the slide, so he's still there. He was 19, so he lived to a ripe old age. And then my cat Jack, who is a character, and my cat Penny. But a big change that's coming up in my life pretty soon is that my husband and I are pregnant with twin baby boys. I found out last October. They're actually due in June while our class is in session, so just a heads up, I'll let you guys know when I go into labor. This will mean that I will have some delayed reaction time in the class. Please just give me a break while I'm in the hospital. I promise I will get back to you as soon as possible. And I'll let you know and keep in contact with you exactly what's going on and when I'll be back. And I'll still be available to respond to you. It just might take me a little bit longer. But the boys' names are going to be Abe and Ollie. Right, so you'll be hearing more about them this summer. If you want to know more information about me, you can also check out my profile on Canvas. There I put down some basic information about myself, and I really want you guys to take a look at this because you are going to be filling this out for me to get to know you, right? So I can put a face or some general information to your name and get to know you a little bit better. I think it's really important in an online class for the teacher to still be able to connect to the students. So we will work on getting to know each other all semester, and by the end of 8 weeks, we probably will know each other pretty well. But the introduction unit for our class has more information on how to build your profile within Canvas. So some background information on me. I am a product of a community college myself. I went to St. Louis Community College at Florissant Valley. Didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Had my last minute had my college plans fall through. But there, my very first class ever was a history class, and he was just really passionate and excited about history. And then I liked him so much that I took another class with him. He was the kind of history dork that's one step above me. He actually dressed up in costume as historical characters and delivered lecture in costume. I do not do that. I fall below that, right? But being in his class, he gave me an opportunity to start tutoring his class because I was successful in it. And that's where I fell in love with teaching history at a college level. So when I transferred to UMSL, I decided to change my major literally at the last second to history. And it was because I loved teaching history so much or tutoring history at St. Louis Community College. But you can't really get a job in history without an education degree. So I continued on to get my master's in history at UMSL. Graduated in December of 2008. came back, tutored for a little bit longer, and then got my first teaching job the summer of 2009. So I've come full circle to be teaching these summer classes, right? I don't think I've ever had a summer where I haven't. I was hired at St. Charles Community College as a part-time teacher in fall of 2010, and then I was hired for full-time temporary fall of 2011, and then full-time permanent since 2012. So I have finished up just about 4 years full-time at the community college, 5 years at SCC. All right, so why history, right? Why do we study history? Why is this a required course? Most of you are probably taking this class because it is a requirement by the state. And it's interesting because history was never on my radar. It's not what I intended to do. It's not what I planned to major in. But my experience in my college history course is what made the difference for me. It's what made me love the discipline of history. It was drastically different than what my experience was in high school. So it got me thinking why it's so different and how I can approach this in this introduction PowerPoint. And what I've come to is that a lot of people have hang-ups with studying history because it's meaningless, right? It's a lot of names and dates. Some people say, why should we bother studying the past when we have so many current problems? But I'll tell you in this introduction why I love history. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that history still impacts the present, right? And so that is, to me, I think the most important reason to study it. I'm sure many of you have heard that phrase, whoever doesn't know history is doomed to repeat it. And that's true to a certain extent, but really, like, the decisions that were made in our even recent past are directly influencing where we are. And one of the reasons that I like it the best is because if we understand that these are all, history is a study of change, and all of this is a change that happened at one point, then we can create future change. So I study social history, so you're going to be getting a lot of that. We're going to do a mix of a variety of different types of history. There'll be political history, military history, but social history is the study of ordinary people in American history rather than just politicians or rich white men. So that to me is pretty impressive. One of my favorite things to study are reform movements and the impact that ordinary people have had on history. And this is exciting to me because it makes me realize that we can make that change too. So some of you might have had some experience with history that has not been so positive in the past, right? But there's a difference between college history courses and high school history courses. In the way that they're taught. And I think that even if you don't like history, if you never had a positive experience with history in the past, you may end up not hating this class because it is so different from what you would get in a high school history course. So in high school history, right, there's a lot of emphasis on what's called rote memorization, where they just give you a list of things to memorize. They say, learn this, test it, and then you forget about it and you're done. College history is different, because college history is all about understanding cause and effect, right? So I won't necessarily be testing you over, I won't test you over any dates. And the names that I'll be testing you over are more be like, why is this person important, right? And then we're going to try really hard to connect these historical events to current events and issues, right? So there'll be a lot of assignments and projects that are getting you to think about this. Another difference between high school history and college history is that the curriculum for high school history is often dictated by the school board and in recent years shaped by standardized tests. So teachers don't really have a choice of what they can cover. They have set things that they can cover. They have set ways that they can cover those topics. In college history, we have something that's called academic freedom, which allows us to shape our curriculum. There are guidelines that we have to follow by the state and by our departments. But we have a lot more freedom to cover the issues and the topics the way that we choose to. And that means we can discuss more controversial issues. Sorry, I didn't mean to switch to the next page. This is going to make a big difference in our course because we will be doing this, right? In high school history, it tends to be boring and meaningless because you're not really doing anything. In a college history course, particularly this one, we're going to be doing something that's called active learning, where you as the student are going to be learning historical ways of thinking, historical methods, and you're going to be applying them, and you're going to be determining the connection and relevance for yourself. And hopefully this will make history much more meaningful and more interesting. So our focus for this course is that we're going to be doing a lot of practice history. We're going to be doing a lot of analyzing and writing history. And we're going to do this in a variety of ways. There's going to be participation assignments that we're going to be doing every week. There'll be different activities that you're supposed to be doing. We're going to have discussion boards. There's going to be some graded discussions that are worth 25 points, where you're actually going to be like putting yourself in the place of the people that were studying in history and writing like you were from that time period. There's also going to be small discussion and debates that we do as a class within those participation activities. And then we're going to have a final project instead of a final exam. We have a final project where this is just going to be you analyzing yourself and what you learned in the class over the course of the semester. And I'll give you more details when we get closer to that assignment. But in the process of doing all these activities, you will essentially be writing smaller pieces of history when you complete these assignments. So it's going to be a much more involved process than probably what you've done in the past. And this is an example, excuse me, of something that's called active learning. And this is going to be in some ways different from what you would have in an on-campus class. In an on-campus class, there's a lot of lecture. You'll have some active learning. You'll be actively listening. But here, it's going to be more about you actually doing the work, doing the analysis, doing the thinking for yourself. We'll give you all the tools. We'll teach you how to do it. But you're going to be actually writing it more than what you would in an on-campus class. So your level of participation affects how engaged you are, and you're actually a part of the process, which is a much more meaningful experience. So if at any time you ever have any questions, right, about how to do the assignment, what I'm asking, what the study guides are asking, send me an email. This is a sign of active learning. Right? Don't just try to figure it out on your own. Contact me. We can even set up a Skype conference if you need to, so we can see each other face to face, and I can explain it in a little bit more detail. All right, so that leads into the next part of our presentation, which is how history is written, and this also explains our texts for the semester and what you're going to be engaging with. History is written from a combination of research based on both primary and secondary sources. Primary sources are documents from the time period that you're studying. An example of this is this book that is required for the class. It's called Reading the American Past. It's a selection of documents that are written in the time period that we're studying. So primary means first. It's a first-hand account. This is where historians really get a lot of their information. You're going to be analyzing and interpreting history based on these documents. But historians also use other historians' work. These are secondary sources. This is secondhand information. So these are books and articles written about a specific time period. And a good example of this is our textbook, which is, you see pictured here, it's 5th edition, Concise History, Volume 2 of the American Promise. And this is really important that you get this version of this textbook, because I have specific reading assignments assigned by page number, not by chapter. And if you get a different version of this textbook, it's not going to match up. You're going to have a hard time knowing what the reading assignment is for the semester. All the assigned reading can be found at the beginning of every unit in the unit overview and directions. This is key to your success in the class. You need to access this document at the beginning before you start anything else. Get the unit overview and directions and get your reading assignment and all the directions for the unit. So here's what you can expect in the class. You're going to need to use Canvas every day, right? You should get into the habit of checking it every day. At the very least, you need to be logging in maybe like 3 times a week. But really, in order to have a good handle on this class, you need to be every day, especially since it's a summer class and it's concise and shortened to 8 weeks instead of 16 weeks. You're going to need a reliable high-speed internet connection. You're going to need to get into the habit of regularly using email for communications and checking announcements, right? So if you're not logging on multiple times throughout the week, you could be missing an important announcement that I have for you that day. So Canvas is essential. It is your lifeline to this class. You have to use it. I will be checking to see how much time you spend on Canvas. I can see everything that you're looking at when I need to report attendance. So pay attention and make sure that you are using it. The class is organized around thematic units. right? There's one unit per week, but since this is a concise, shortened summer class, you're really doing 2 units per week, right? Because instead of a 16-week semester, we have an 8-week semester. And we generally have an exam every week, but sometimes we don't. So pay attention to the course schedule, that you know when the exam dates are, right? So that you can be prepared and not ever miss an exam. The exams will be open for 3 days. They'll be timed. They're open note, but you're not going to have time to look up every single answer in the from your notes to be able to look up everything, right? So my suggestion to you is to use the study guides that are provided in every unit. Do those, work through them, answer those questions while you're working through the unit material. Then you have that information right there in front of you while you're taking the exam. And it'll help you prepare for the exam, so you might not even need the study guide, but if you need to look up like 1 or 2 answers, you have them right there. We will also have online graded discussions, 3 of them, and each week we'll have multiple activities that you have to complete. So for this week, for the introduction unit, and in Unit 1, you have several activities that you have to do in the introduction, and you have 1 activity you need to do for Unit 1. All the due dates are noted in the unit overview, directions, and the course schedule. Now this is important. For a summer class, you need to plan to spend between 10 to 12 hours per week on this course. That's how I've structured the course. That's how I've set it up. And that's based on the concept that if you were in an on-campus class, you'd be spending 5 to 6 hours for a summer class in lecture per week. And then it's expected you'd spend an additional 5 to 6 hours outside of class working on your class material. Therefore, I expect you to work between 10 and 12 hours per week on this course. If you want to be successful, right up front, that's what you need to do. You need to plan on that in order to get the grade that you want in this class. Our class is going to run on a weekly schedule. It is not a self-paced course. You have 1 week to complete the assignments for each unit. We run on a Monday to Monday weekly schedule. So what that means is that since our first unit opens on June 1st, right, you will have until June 8th to complete Unit 1 and the introduction. But there's a little bit of overlap because Unit 2 also opens up June 8th, right? And then it closes the following week, June 15th, right? So you need to make sure that you keep on top of that. You have a little bit of playroom, but know that the weeks kind of run into each other and plan for that. Most of your assignments will be due by that following Monday, but there are often other due dates. So just note that graded discussions and exams have different due dates within the week. So for example, for graded discussions, your first post is going to be due on a Thursday, and then your second post is due on Monday. Whereas if it's just a regular participation activity, it would just be due by Monday. Right, so use the course schedule to schedule those due dates into your own personal scheduler, program them to your phone, do something so that you don't miss those due dates as they come up. And one of the most important things that you can do every week, and I've already said this, but it's really important, is to read the unit overview and directions. It has a list of everything that you need to do for that week. You can use it as a checklist and make sure that you don't miss any assignments or any activities for that week. And then I would recommend printing out the study guides and working on those. Take notes while you're looking at the PowerPoints, while you're watching the videos, while you're doing the reading assignments. Answer those questions. Those are going to be key to helping you on the exams. So where could you find your due dates? Well, they are located in 5 locations in this course, which literally means you have no excuses for not remembering a due date. The first place that you can find them is in the introduction unit. There's a separate course schedule that you can print off and just make note of. There's also a schedule in Canvas located below the syllabus, which you can see right here, right? It's a link to all the different assignments and it tells you the due dates. This programs it into a calendar that's within Canvas. So when you log into Canvas, it'll tell you what your upcoming assignments are, what you have due, right? So Canvas, if you log in every day, it'll give you a key, right, to what you need to get done that week, right? I also have the course schedule located within the syllabus itself, right? And they're also noted within each week's unit overview and directions. So there's so many places you can get these due dates. Make sure you stay on top of them. The best way to reach me in this class is through Canvas Mail. I'm actually not on campus this summer. If you call my office phone, I will get the message, but it might take me a little bit longer to get back to you. If you send me an email, it goes directly to my phone and I can reply right away. Some of you have already emailed me this semester to ask me questions, and I'm pretty good at responding very quickly. Generally, I will respond within 24 hours during the week, 48 hours on a weekend, but I'm usually a lot faster than that. And again, when I deliver the twins, it's going to take me a little bit longer to respond to you, but I will give you a heads up that that's going on. So go check out Canvas email and learn how to use it. So again, here's the things to look for in this class. If you have any questions at all, please send me an email and let me know what your questions are. And just remember to use those unit overview and directions, get up the course schedule, pull up the syllabus, get that information, and really understand what's going on in the class. And I look forward to having a good summer with you.